In a world of endless fandoms, one podcast dares to cover them all. Welcome to Between Two Batcaves, your go-to HQ for everything from comics to the screen and all the IP in between.
All right, hello, and thanks for hanging with us today on this episode of Between Two Batcaves. We are your hosts. I am Austin Luke, and he is Jordan Brownstein. And today we are taking a step into Westeros for our extended vacation trip. Yeah, our staycation into Westeros. That's what I'm going to call it.
I'm going to be honest, dude. I'm not taking a vacation to Westeros.
that's actually probably a good idea. That
this is a business trip.
Yeah, you're right. That might bode poorly for us. Anyway, if you guys couldn't tell, we are going to be talking about House of the Dragon Season 3, the premiere today. More on that from Jordan here in a minute. But before we get into all the nitty-gritty for the day, a few things from me. First of all, if you like what we're doing over here on Between Two Batcaves, please let us know whether this is your first or 59th. Does that sound right?
All right. Super Bowl winner, Danelle Ellerby. Look it up.
Dude, you're always on the ball with that one. Whether this is your first or 59th episode with us, let us know how we're doing. You can do that in a few ways. First of all, you can follow the pod on the podcast platform of your choice. Next, you can like, rate, and review the pod. 5-star rating, couple nice words would go a long way. Lastly, share the show with a friend. If you're watching House of the Dragon and that's what brought you to us, please share this with people in your lives that are also watching House of the Dragon. Socials. We have socials. They are Facebook, Insta, Twitter, TikTok, Blue Sky, YouTube. We're everywhere. Everywhere at Between Two Batcaves with the number 2, except for Twitter, where we are at B2 Batcaves with the number 2. Y'all can follow us over there, get in touch with Jordan and I over there, and just stay up with the latest from us. We're posting daily content over on the socials, so go follow to stay along with what we're doing on Between Two Batcaves. Lastly, video pod. We are on YouTube and Spotify. If you're watching Between Two Batcaves, thank you so much. Just click the buttons over there. You got like, you got subscribe, you got ring the bell, all the things to let us know that you're watching, you're listening, you're liking it. Engage with us so that we can keep doing things on this channel that y'all like to see and we like to talk about. That's what we're here for. So hopefully, y'all might be seeing some changes in this episode on the video stuff. I've been back in the lab, Jordan. You know,
you've been back in the lab big time.
I've been back in the lab.
It's good. It's good to see.
I'm not 100% sure if all of the changes will be applied by the time this episode comes out on Wednesday, but at least some of them will be. And I think those who have been with us for a while are going to be pleasantly surprised by the upgrades that are coming to the channel. Way. It's going to be cool. It's going to be fun.
I will just say, before we move on, speaking of the new stuff that you've been implementing, you can check out some of that on the episode that is our episode from last week that we posted. Correct. Reacting to the second trailer for Spider-Man Brand New Day. Got to flex a little bit of your video editing skills over there, Austin. Thumbnail looks beautiful. Don't know how you managed it with this mug, but you did it. So go check that out. If you guys are excited for Spider-Man, we just did a reaction video where we watched the trailer, give our reactions as we're watching it, and then talk a little bit more about the movie afterwards. So go check that out.
Yeah, and actually the video's doing pretty well, so I think we might have more of those in our future. That was a fun way to sit down and like have a dedicated time to like talk about one thing and not have to try to cram it into an episode that was already going to be like an hour plus, you know? I like that format.
I think for the next one, we should do like our live first reaction to whatever trailer it is.
I agree.
Now that we know.
So anyway, guys, let us please let me know if you're liking the changes that you're seeing on the channel. Give me some appreciation for the hard work that I put into behind the scenes here.
Hey, you're gonna get your flowers this weekend. Don't worry.
Hey, thank you. All right, I think that's everything from me. Jordan, why don't you fill the audience in on what to expect from us today in the coming weeks?
We ain't messing around today, brother. We're getting right into it. We got some news items to touch on briefly in the Oracle report, some box office stuff, some stuff coming down the pipe sometime soon. I got to clear out for a show that I've loved that just ended. But why we're here today, why you and I have gathered, and why we have gathered our audience here today, is to discuss the season 3 premiere of House of the Dragon. This episode entitled Fire and Blood, Salt and Sea. Salt and Sea, Fire and Blood. You got to get that sequencing right. We're talking about that episode of TV that just came out a few days ago. If you're listening to this as this episode drops, we're getting in the weeds, and I'm very excited. We're back in Westeros after we dipped our toes in with Night of the Seven Kingdom. We had a great time talking about that show.
Yes,
but
we did.
There's a lot more to dive into with House of the Dragon, and we're going to do that today. Also, what we got coming down the pipe, we've talked about this the past couple of weeks. There is no more downtime when it comes to the universes that we love.
I mean, I think really what the audience can expect from us is you can expect from on the channel here, expect House of the Dragon. We're going to be doing weekly coverage of House of the Dragon. That is going to be the main focus moving into July, where we'll kind of switch focus again and to talk about Brand New Day. Brand New Day is going to kind of, I think, be like the first solo project after House of the Dragon that we cover. That being said,
let me ask you this. Go ahead. Finish your thought.
Well, I was just talking timeline-wise. Because we're going to be here weekly for House of the Dragon. We have minimally 2 other projects that we want to cover in the meantime, that being Supergirl and The Odyssey. So, will we find time to see those movies? Of course. Will we find time to talk about those movies? Yes. In what format? I'm not entirely sure. We could do like a double episode week here or there, but I don't know. We gotta figure that one out.
Yeah, I think so. I think I haven't locked down my Supergirl ticket yet, but I am absolutely going to go see it this weekend. If you guys are listening to this on release day, the movie is in theaters either today or tomorrow. So yeah, I'm going to see it this weekend. Also, are you going to try to get out to?
Wait a minute, we're going to be together this weekend. Interesting.
Funny how that happened.
Interesting.
We're going to have to talk about this more. But for the purposes of our podcast today, I will just say we are absolutely going to see this movie and talk about it on this feed in some form or another. If you guys are super excited about Supergirl, would love to know that, because the hype, I haven't really seen it there. There isn't too much buzz for this movie in my corner of the internet. I don't know if that says more about me or about the movie, but I would be really interested to hear if anybody out there listening is particularly excited to go check out Supergirl.
Yeah, no, I would be too. You're right. It's kind of been
it's
pretty
just
low key.
It's because of where it is in the calendar. Like, we're just talking about House of the Dragon, banger, Odyssey, coming up in a couple of weeks, going to be a banger. Spider-Man is Spider-Man. And not to mention, we'll get into this in the Oracle report, this might actually be the perfect transition to do that. Because I want to talk about Toy Story a little bit.
Oh, yes, let's talk Toy Story. Before you do, just to summarize everything we just said, guys, expect House of the Dragon over here for the next 8 weeks. And then maybe a little bit interspersed here and there. But the main feed here is going to be Westeros, House of the Dragon talk. We are going to be in the weeds all season long. Looking forward to it.
Absolutely. It's appointment viewing. It's HBO appointment viewing. We're back.
Yeah, we're back.
But before we get to that, let's go ahead. I'm the guy in the chair today. I'm firing up the Oracle report, okay?
Okay.
All right. I'm going to start off easy for you. We start with a nice little fastball right down the middle. If you had to guess, what movie in the last 5 years had the best first day pre-sales in the United States?
In the last 5 years. Okay, that takes away pretty much anything Marvel.
No. We're talking up to today.
Oh, up to today?
Yes.
What had the Toy Story 5?
No. Spider-Man Brand New Day.
Oh,
best.
Yes, I did. Oh, yeah. Were you talking pre-sales? Yeah.
Yes.
Spider-Man Brand New Day, I did see that.
Dude, it It's looking like it might open to $250 million domestically. The pre-sale numbers, let's take a look where we're sitting right now. I will just say this is the highest selling first day pre-sale since Spider-Man No Way Home. So
listen, you can't outsell Spidey.
About.
Only person who can outsell Spidey is Spidey.
Exactly. And just to fill in the blanks here, so we're already well past $40 million in domestic pre-sales revenue. So this movie is going to, I think $2 billion is certainly in the cards.
Yeah, I think. Listen, I don't know how else to say it. I mean, Spidey sells. You know, it is a Spidey story. People love Spider-Man. People love Tom Holland as Spider-Man. People love Zendaya. People are really looking forward to like the combination of the creative team that we're getting behind this movie. I hate the term like Marvel is back, but like this is just like one of those like, oh, Marvel is back feelings. You know, it's Spider-Man. It's you can't not get excited for that.
Feels like they're nailing this marketing push here with like a little bit more than a month left. And we haven't even really gone into overdrive for it yet, which I think will probably start in like a week or so.
Yeah.
All right. I'll move on from Spider-Man because it's a safe bet that we will spend some amount of time every single episode up until the release of this movie talking about this movie. So
it's the new Batman.
Just be prepared for a lot of Spidey talk in the next month or so. Going back, though, you guessed Toy Story 5 as the highest pre-selling first day in the last 5 years. It's not, but it is cleaning up and has had the best opening weekend in franchise history, which is saying a lot. It looks like they pulled in over $312 million globally, $160 million in the United States. We obviously with the Father's Day weekend, I'm sure there are a lot of families going out to catch this movie. I have not had the opportunity to go see this one yet with everything, like so many other things going on, but I've heard this movie is really good. And I think it's something that is going to like really strike those nostalgia chords for us, while also telling a story that like, obviously it seems like everybody's pretty receptive to it.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I've heard actually like surprisingly really good things about this movie. I've heard people kind of give it glowing reviews, talking about it in the same grouping as like a Toy Story like 1, a Toy Story 3, that Toy Story 1 and 3 I think kind of tend to be on the higher ends of most people's list. And I've heard people talk about 5 in relationship to those movies. I haven't had the chance to see it yet. I would love to go see it. I'm debating whether or not I can take the kiddo and sit through that. I'm not sure yet.
Have you taken her to a movie yet, aside from like when you guys rented the theater out?
Yeah, no, not like a movie like with other people.
Yeah, that's a big step.
Yeah, it is. So I gotta find like a good like 11 o'clock like matinee with a couple other like 2-3 other parents in there that also have kids, and we're all just gonna agree, be like, hey, listen, if the kids running around screaming,
we know why we're here.
So be it. Yeah,
we know why we're here.
That's what I gotta find.
That's smart. I can tell you one movie you certainly will not be showing to the kiddo anytime soon. Batman Nightfall, which is coming out later this year with the first trailer dropping tomorrow. Confirmation that we are getting a rated R animated Batman Nightfall movie series coming this year.
So sick. There's so many words in there that are so cool. Animated
let me
Batman
break it down
Nightfall movie series.
Yeah. So
that's 5 good words.
Batman Nightfall. This was a comic series. I think it was Denny O'Neil. I might be wrong on the writer, but comic series from the 90s, where this was like the introduction of Bane as one of Batman's arch nemesis. A lot of The Dark Knight Rises, the Nolan movie, pulls a lot from the Batman Nightfall run, which
it's the classic Bane breaking Batman's back scene.
Exactly. That's where the iconic Bane breaking Batman's back over his knee image comes from, that Dark Knight Rises pulled itself. And so this, I think the first one is coming like this fall, but this is basically announced as like either a 3 or 4 part, like straight to, I think it's going to be straight to streaming movie series. I don't know. I don't think this is going to be theatrical. But the first trailer's coming. If you guys are listening to this, that trailer's already out. So go check that out. I'm certainly going to be watching that one. Yeah. And that is just like, I think I remember when this was announced like a year or so ago, out of my brain until today.
Good lad. Yeah, no, I learned about this today from our buddy Arjun. Shout out Arjun. So yeah, super cool. That I love that we're gonna be able to get like this animated, like rated R version of this, because like you mentioned, like you get a good amount of the inspiration from it in The Dark Knight Rises. But I mean, if you've read Nightfall, like it is like such a epic, like dark, like just like grueling story for
a huge chunk of it. Batman is not, like, similar to The Dark Knight Rises, Batman is not in Gotham. But what happens in the comics that doesn't happen in the movie is Azrael has to take up the mantle. Azrael, if you don't know who that is very interesting Bat family adjacent character who
with a crazy costume
assumes the mantle, like a religious zealot type character who, seeing like a rated R version of Azrael in this story is going to be really cool.
It's going to be cool. So looking forward to Nightfall. And just, again, movie series. Love that.
Yep. Like DC animated movies always bang.
Oh, they always do. I do hope that the animation style that they use, they change it from kind of like the more recent projects. Like, I don't know if you've seen like Aztec Batman.
Dude, that was not for me.
I don't like the new animation style. I hope they switch that up.
Yeah. Let's see. I got one more hit for you here. I don't know if you have anything that you wanted to go over in the Oracle report. But this isn't really news so much as I just need to take a couple seconds to talk about a show that just ended that Maddie and I watched together that you and M, I think, are on the train now. Widow's Bay.
Haven't started.
You haven't started, but it's on the list, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I obviously, no spoilers. The season 1 just ended like last week. Already greenlit for season 2. Dude, we talk about it on the spot a lot. Neither of us are horror guys, but for me particularly, if there is a really good story that has horror in it, I will be there for that. And like, that is exactly what this show is. The showrunner, Katie Dippold, started as a writer on Parks and Rec, and you can really feel that influence here. It's like the perfect blend of comedy and horror. Matthew Rhys, who lead on The Americans, Perry Mason, one of my favorite actors. He plays the mayor of this town in like New England, an island town that's like separated from the mainland, completely cut off from like technology and stuff. And he is trying to revitalize like the island's economy and bring in tourists and stuff. But what's really pulling him back is that the island is haunted. And so you have this constant tension of Matthew Rhys's mayor character, like trying to spruce everything up and bring people kind of into the 21st century and make people's standard of living better. Oh, but also the hotel's haunted and there's a slasher running around. And I haven't laughed out loud at a show like I have at this show in a long time. There's just like something about like comedy and horror, two very different genres and like two very different emotions, but surprisingly similar. And the way that they utilize like the tension of like those classic horror moments when you're just waiting for something to come around the corner or something to pop up on the screen, the amount of times that they have those moments and not undercut it, but supplement those like feelings of tension with a hilarious joke is just like, it's incredible. I cannot wait for season 2 of the show. I can't wait for you guys to start the show so I can talk about it with you in some more detail. But please, if there's anybody out there who is hip to Widow's Bay, hit me up on Let's Talk.
Yeah, no, the night that I texted you saying that we're going to start it, we actually ended up starting Shrinking season 3 instead, a show that we fell off on because of my schedule. And so we're like, all right, let's catch up on that.
Very great show.
But again, it's like a comedic show, and you were talking about the relationship between horror and comedy, and it's all about timing. Both of those, horror hits well when they time the horror aspects properly. Comedy hits well in the same way. It's all about how you time the delivery of both of those genres. So when you mix them, I think it's probably, I mean, granted, I haven't seen the show yet, but I can see like the intersection of those. Like if you can nail the timing of both of those, you get like both heightened emotions within, how long are the episodes?
Like 30 to 40 minutes.
Like, yeah, exactly. So you get like the max emotion, the spectrum here of like laughing to like being terrified all in a half an hour. And if that works, which it sounds like it really does, I expect it to be awesome.
Dude, you're gonna love it. You're gonna love it.
It's just one of those, another example it sounds like of like Apple TV, like when they put out a banger, they put out a banger.
And like, it also goes to show, because like they really didn't promote the show before it came out, but people are watching it. And like progressively every week, more and more people have been watching it. And you're a good example of that. Like maybe it's after the show ends that like there's still more people finding it through word of mouth from me telling you. And that's just like always like really exciting when a show it becomes popular just off its own merits.
Yes.
You feel like you're a part of it.
I feel like that was similar to Pluribus.
Very much so. Again, Apple TV.
Apple TV. I don't got anything. Are you ready for this?
You ready?
I'm ready. I am ready. We are moving into the main topic for today. House of the Dragon Season 3 premiere, guys. We're going to break this down. So what we're going to do this today is kind of just go in sequence of the show, kind of talk about like big picture ideas, get into some nitty gritty details as we do so. Before we get into our discussion, we are going to cover what happened in the episode. Only way we do that over here is the Batcave recap. I'm going to throw that over to Jordan for the Batcave recap. Before I do that, I'm just going to issue the spoiler warning for House of the Dragon Season 3 and House of the Dragon maybe Season 2 and 1. I will
and
not
maybe
issue
Game of Thrones, maybe
Game of Thrones.
Like anything that happens in Westeros or Essos is fair game.
But no book spoilers because we have not read the book.
Correct.
That is a good point. We will not be getting into book spoilers. So TV spoilers ahead.
All right, you've been warned. All right, let's do it. Here is your Batcave recap for the premiere of Season 3 of House of the Dragon, Salt and Sea, Fire and Blood. Written by creator and showrunner Ryan Condal and directed by Loni Perister. The episode drops us directly back into the Targaryen Civil War in the moments leading up to the Battle of the Gullet and a major collision between Team Green and Team Black. In the Vale, Rhaena claims Sheepstealer the wild dragon that she has been stalking instead of babysitting Rhaenyra's kids. Daemon is waging war on the Lannisters in the Riverlands when the Starks arrive to join the fray, no pun intended. And Rhaenyra and her advisors are in Dragonstone discussing her scheme with Alicent to take King's Landing without significant bloodshed. In King's Landing, Alicent learns that hers and Rhaenyra's scheme is in serious jeopardy because injured Aegon has absconded the throne and left the city with Lord Varys, and Aemon has taken his place on the Iron Throne and does not intend to leave the city for Harrenhal as previously planned. Alicent is thus forced to try and manipulate Aemon into leaving King's Landing to face Daemon at Harrenhal, and she is able to do so, unfortunately as a result of Aemon's deeply unsettling sexual feelings toward his mother. Speaking of Harrenhal, the Dragon Seeds, Ulf, Adam, and Hugh are hanging out there with their dragons and being tormented by the castle's inherent spookiness and self-proclaimed witch, Alice Rivers, while they wait to ambush Aemon and Vhagar upon their arrival at Harrenhal. Elsewhere, Lord Larys and Aegon are captured on the road by Rhaenyra's bannermen, but Larys reveals Aegon's identity as a ploy to keep them alive another day, as the bannermen agree to take them alive to Rhaenyra to collect the bounty on their heads. Meanwhile, Ormond Hightower and his nephew Daeron and Daeron's dragon Tessarion prepare to march toward battle with the Hightower army and its bannermen. As the ground forces wage war and continue to march, the Battle of the Gullet takes form when the Triarchy's fleet confronts the Sea Snake and his Valyrian blockade of King's Landing. When word reaches Dragonstone, Rhaenyra decides to take Syrax into battle. However, Jace makes the decision that his mom can't take that risk, so he orders the Queen's Guard to lock her in her chambers so that he and his betrothed, Bela, can take their dragons into the battle instead. As Jason Vermax and Bela and Moondancer ignite the Triarchy, Rhaena takes Sheepstealer into the battle, hoping to help her sister and her cousin. Unfortunately, Rhaena cannot control the wild Sheepstealer, who begins to panic at the chaos of the battle and begins indiscriminately torching every ship he can, including the friendly Velaryon forces. Jace and Vermax are distracted in the midst of Sheepstealer's panic, and Vermax is harpooned by a Triarchy ship as they flew too low to the water. As poor Vermax is dragged under the sea to his heartbreaking death, Jace unhooks himself and surfaces in the water. His relief is short-lived, however, as 3 arrows from a nearby Triarchy ship rain down on him, ending the life of the hot-headed prince and one-time hopeful heir to the Iron Throne. While the Triarchy fleet is ultimately defeated and its commander killed, the Battle of the Gullet ends in what both sides probably view as a bloody tie. That has been your Batcave recap for the Season 3 premiere of House of the Dragon, Salt and Sea, Fire and Blood. Let's get into it.
It has been. Let's get into the weeds on this one, pal.
Okay,
so we're going to start here with just kind of like general thoughts, general feeling of this episode. I'll kick it off here. I'm curious to know if you had a similar experience to me in this. As I was starting the episode, I was amped up. I was like, okay, let's go. Like, I'm about to start House of the Dragon season 3. Like, I'm super excited to be back in Westeros. As you said, we were with the Knight of the Seven Kingdom, but just something about something about Targaryens, being involved in the way that they are here, and just dragons in general. It just feels different. We've gone into that at length when we discussed the Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. So no disrespect to Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, but I was like, man, we are back. That being said, as I was watching the recap, I found myself getting frustrated. I was getting frustrated because I was like, wait a minute, who's that? What's happening here? What side are they on? Are they serving that person or serving themselves? Whose dragon is whose? I was getting lost. I was like, man, it's been... look, you can't talk about the show without talking about the fact that it's been 2.5 or over 2 years since season 2 came out. It's been over 2 years. That's a hot topic of discussion for this. And I found myself getting frustrated during the recap thinking about that because I was like, man, like I'm forgetting what happened in season 2, even with this recap. Then roll intro theme, and I was like, oh, never mind. I'm not frustrated anymore. Doesn't matter because we get into this episode and they pick up right where they left off. I mean, they spend absolutely no time, piddling around, trying to reset the stage. It's like, hey, here is the Battle of the Gullet, and this is what we spent season 2 building up to. Here you go.
We're fully at war now.
Yes, yeah. Like
cannons are fired.
No stage setting. This was what season 2 built up to, and I appreciated that.
Well, dude, I definitely don't think you're alone in your frustration by any means. I felt a lot of that too, and honestly, it took probably 5 to 10-ish minutes of the episode itself to get fully back in, I guess. Mm-hmm. This would have been a near perfect season 2 finale.
I know.
But we are instead left with what I would say is just a really good season premiere.
Yes.
So, yeah, I think we could spend so much time talking about the gap and the effect of it. But I think ultimately the biggest effect that the gap in time had for me was just Jace's death didn't move me that much. I was more upset by Vermax dying. And I think if it hadn't been 2.5 years since I spent any time with Jace as a character, I probably would have been a little bit more torn up about it.
No, I'm totally with you on that. It's actually interesting that you bring that up. I will bring up that scene in a minute, but just I like how you put that. It would have been a perfect season 2 finale, and it's ultimately now a really good season 3 premiere. I'm wondering, like, in retrospect, like, how it would have been if we got this as a finale in season 2, and then season 1 of or episode 1 of season 3 is dealing with the aftermath of the battle. So, like, is using this major event as a season premiere kind of a tone setter for the season? Is this trying to tell us that this is going to be, the more high octane, like clashing heads to heads, dragons to dragons season of House of the Dragon that people have been clamoring for?
Well, I think it has to be. I think the season has to be that.
Yes.
I don't think. Well, we can't talk about like how this is structured without acknowledging the fact that like this was supposed to be the end of season 2, and
it was supposed to be.
They ran out of budget and they had to push it. So.
Yeah.
I think, like, obviously that was not their first choice to do it this way. But I think you're right in that, like, once it became clear that they were going to have to do this, I would think that, like, those conversations then shifted to, okay, how do we then serve season 3 with this episode? How is this going to establish a tone that we want, like, the audience to feel is coming? And like, is this just another table setter for more battles to come, or is this the big event that the rest of the season deals with? Something, or maybe a little bit of both. I definitely don't think that the bloodshed is going to stop anytime soon.
Oh, nor do I. Let me ask you this: was the wait worth it?
Yeah. I mean,
it was a pretty epic battle.
Yeah. Like, what would have the wait not being worth it looked like?
That's a really good question.
If the Battle of the Gullet was just like completely underwhelming and like nonsensical, or
yeah, like if we did, and I mean, granted, I'm sure book readers knew what they were getting into, but yeah, like if we didn't get a lot of Dragonfire, if we didn't get this epic side story between the Triad and the Sea Snake, in the clash of the ships in the water, if we didn't get Sheep Stealer, seemingly joining side Red, but also like unable to be tamed fully. If we didn't get one other thing just came to mind that was really cool.
Incest.
Sure, if we didn't get Aemon kissing his mom,
we never got mother-son incest before.
Hey, if you forgot that this was a George R. R. Martin property,
you didn't. Get it.
You remembered in this episode. That's
Game of Thrones has the license to do things that no other piece of media has the license to do. We're gonna get into that.
Yep. So yeah, no, I think I do think that it was worth the wait. I was not disappointed by what we saw. Like I said, I started off frustrated, but I ended like excited to be back in House of the Dragon.
And I do think you see the extra time and the extra budget shown on screen in this episode.
Yes. All right. So I'm going to kind of break this down a little bit further here. We kind of get like some major kind of, I think you said you kind of split this up geographically and how you were thinking about this. A little bit
geographically, yeah. And
so,
yeah.
Did you start, where do you want to start off? You want to start off on
the first thing I had was just because I think the episode kind of opens with Rhaena being able to claim Sheep Stealer, right?
Yes, it does.
So do you want to? Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about that. But before we get into it, do we want to shine some spotlights?
Oh, yes, we do. I forgot that we were switching up how we did that. So for those who don't know, what we like on our reviews over here on Between Two Batcaves, we like to shine bat signal spotlights on characters and scenes that we feel like deserved a little bit more time in the limelight. So we are going to shine some bat signal spotlights. Jordan, I will send it off to you for your bat signal spotlight. Where do you want to shine it?
I'm shining my bat signal spotlight on a character that didn't fly close enough to the sun. He flew too far from the sun. Rest in peace, Vermax. Not Jace. My bat signal spotlight for the character is going to the dragon formerly known as Vermax. One, I like not necessarily Vermax specifically, but just the dragons as a whole. This show does something that makes these dragons just feel like dogs, even though they're laying absolute waste to hundreds of people and all that kind of stuff. When a dragon dies, it breaks my heart. Like watching Vermax drown and seeing him get pulled into the depths broke my heart a little bit. And I just think this show has really found a way to like walk the line of giving each dragon distinct looks and character traits while not like taking it too far in like anthropomorphizing them to like a cartoonish level.
Yes.
There is just like, this is like obviously one of the through lines of the show is just like the relationship between the dragons and their riders. And we see here just Vermax is just like, that's, I can't imagine what Jace must have been feeling in like this 15 seconds between unleashing himself from Vermax and his untimely end. Cause like I probably would have accepted death at that point if I were him.
Sorry, got caught in a yawn.
That was a good one.
Yeah, no, I echo everything that you just said about the dragons. I am going to shine my back signal character spotlight in a different direction, though. I'm going to shine it on Alicent this episode. I found a lot of joy and just like intrigue in watching her maneuver through this new landscape that she walks back into after where she left off in season 2 of making this plan with Rhaenyra and coming back, and that plan has now gone out the window. Aemond is no longer on the throne, Aegon is no longer on the throne. She's not sure if he's alive or dead. Aemond is on the throne and she's terrified, and you can see in like everything that she does, every move that she makes, every word that she says, it's through pursed lips, hiding behind fear, because she is scared of what Aemond can do on the throne, rightfully so. And just like the way that she attempts to manipulate her son and those around her, I think is just like really, really well portrayed in this episode. I like this idea that like she finally was at a place where she felt like maybe she could find salvation from this conflict between her and her family, and now that is no longer a possibility. And she is tiptoeing, walking on eggshells. She's doing what she can now to maneuver the new chessboard that has been set for her. Yeah, I just really, really liked Alicent in this episode, and watching like the difference now between Team Black and Team Green, I think is really cool to see, because, you see Team Black, which by all means has the upper hand at this point, yet loses the battle. I mean, like you said, it was probably a bloody tie, but they lose Vermax and they lose Jace at the end of this episode. Like the way that it's framed, Team Black loses the battle by the end of this episode, and they most certainly had the high ground. Meanwhile, you have Alicent and yeah, you got that, Alicent and Team Green that is tearing themselves apart from within. They are crippling themselves because of the fear in their own family. I just really like the dynamic going on between the two, and Alicent trying to get away from it.
I really like the comparison you draw between the different factions and how they're either coming closer together in ways or falling apart. I will also just I echo everything you said about Alicent too. What I like particularly love about her in this episode is it feels like she's moving different now. It feels like season 1, early season 2 Alicent maybe would have just accepted the fact that her plan fell apart. But this version of Alicent is like, no, I am going to do whatever I can to make this work, including, and let me transition this into my Bat Signal spotlight scene, including letting my creep King Regent son like kiss me and use that disgusting, weird sexual desire that I am terrified of in my son to my advantage by manipulating him and getting him to do what I want by using that. And that is a version of Alicent that I don't know if we've really seen before.
No, yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah, like I said, she's manipulating now, which is super, super interesting to see. I can't wait to see where that goes with the character. It's funny, you and I are kind of doing flip-flops here because my Bat Signal scene spotlight is the Jace and Vermax death scene.
Two sides of the same coin, my friend.
I do agree with what you said, that the death of Jace, it's like that itself didn't carry a ton of emotional weight with me because we've spent so long.
Really well, though.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. The scene itself, the character, we're kind of divorced from that character now. However, what we get in this episode is Jace acting out of immaturity and honestly like pittiness towards his mother by, you know, shunning her to her room, having the Kingsguard keep her there, and then he acts on impulse and goes into this battle. His own actions got him in this situation, and while, you know, I don't prey on the downfall of Jace, ultimately it's like, dude, like, not to do this, you know? It's
I accidentally pressed the mute button on yours for a second.
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't know I had that control.
You've got yourself into this situation, and it has ultimately like come to your demise and your dragon's demise. But the scene, just the way it's shot, you know, Vermax drowns. He, wait, Vermax, right? Veraxes?
Yeah. Vermax was Jace's.
Yeah. You know, he comes up, he gets on the plank, and then, you know, you're just like kind of, he's like looking around, and then arrow right into his back. And I mean, I audibly gasped. Like, it surprised me. I was like, oh my gosh. And then another arrow. And I was like, okay, this scene is beautiful the way they did it.
Yes, I completely agree. Like, the disconnect for me was just like with losing Jace as a character, but the execution I thought was like so well done, and just kind of like so the silence, and you just see Jace kind of like staring at those triad sailors who are just like 20, 30 feet away on their boat, and just like completely helpless. And like, you see in that moment that he just kind of realizes that it's over, and that stuff is haunting. The show does that really
that's
well.
A good word for it. Haunting.
Yeah.
Okay. I was gonna say, I'm gonna transition here because we just talked about the death of old characters, and we want to talk about the introduction of a new character in Sheepstealer. Sheepstealer, enter the chat. What are your thoughts, dude? Sheepstealer's a badass,
dude. Sheepstealer has been a wild dragon in the Vale for hundreds of years, and Rhaena comes up in here and thinks that she can tell Sheepstealer what to do because he gives her one lamb chop.
Dude, like,
Rhaena,
first of all, he is one gnarly looking dragon.
Oh, I love the design, like the jagged teeth, and like the wisps coming off of him.
And correct me if I'm wrong, I think he's the second largest dragon in the realm.
I think you're right. I think it's Vhagar and then Sheepstealer.
Yeah. So another big plus to have on Team Black side.
Only if you can control him, though.
Yeah, that's to be questioned. I love the way that you kind of said it here. They framed it in, okay, well, this is supposed to be like this big triumphant moment for Rhaena, and it kind kind of was because
and like it feels like it is, right? Like
it does. It does. She rides him into battle.
Yeah.
But
this is a theme of this episode, is just like the hubris of the children.
Yes, that's a really good point.
Like, you see that with Jace, obviously, or Bela to a lesser extent, just with going along with Jace. Rhaena thinking that she can take Sheepstealer into a chaotic naval battle, like on the first day on the job. Like, maybe stay on the training course for a couple days before you do that.
Maybe go tell Rhaenyra that, hey, you got another dragon rider, you know?
Yeah. I do, like, one thing that I was reminded of this as I was kind of like reading some reviews of the episode a little bit, but like, a thread for Rhaena as a character since very early on is that, like, She has never been able to claim a dragon. She feels a lot of insecurity about that. Yeah. And so she finally gets this triumphant moment, and it's exactly right. Like, as a kid would do, they have that confidence. They're like, all right, I did this. Let me do the next thing. Let's fly into battle and save the day. Mm-hmm. And it does not work out like that. And that is like, that's Game of Thrones kind of to a T, is like subverting those fantasy expectations, right? Like where you get that triumphant moment where she claims a dragon and comes in and saves the day. No, the crown prince and his dragon are dead pretty much because of you.
I mean, that's I was going to ask you, like, is she at fault for the death of Jace? Like,
I won't say 100%.
I won't, neither will I, but also her decisions did directly impact the death.
I will say this.
Would it have happened without her? Possibly.
Probably not.
Did it happen with her there? Yeah. Absolutely. Because of her actions and her dragon?
Yeah.
Yes.
It happened in that instance because exactly. Sheepstealer calls the chaos. He's chasing Vermax and Moondancer because he's like scared. He's like, you bring a wild animal into that environment, like what do you expect him to do? Right. But like, yeah, I think Jace probably doesn't die if they don't show up, but we should also acknowledge the fact that he got hit with one of those harpoons before they even got there. So like, just like in general, the naval combat skills maybe weren't really there for Jace, which is tough.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. You know, the epic like setting of this battle, you know, over the water, you have the Triad versus you know, the Sea Snake and his army. And why can I not think of his name right now? What's the Sea Snake's name?
Corlys.
Thank you, Corlys. Yeah. Corlys and his army, and then you have the Triad, and the leader of the Triad is Laenor.
Yeah, where is it? I had it pulled up because I knew it. Oh, Admiral Shirako Lohar.
Lohar.
Yeah,
Corlys and Lohar. See again, dude. This is why the
we're
big
back
gap is hard.
Baby.
The names,
you gotta have the wiki up.
But you know, you have this like epic battle between those two, and they do a really good job of like going from like literally from, you know, like sea level to like aerial view between you know, the fight of the dragons up top, and then the fight between Corlys and Lohar. I can't even remember now. Lohar. And both are equally as intense, which I like. And actually, I think in a lot of ways, the battle on the sea is even more so than the battle in the air. You know, you mentioned you get like Vermax, he gets harpooned, and also ultimately like dies at the end of this episode. But you know, when you get the dragons in the air, really what you get is, you know, you get Dracarys burning up boats. Which, don't get me wrong, love it a lot. You get down to the sea, and I mean, you get that dirty, nitty gritty fighting to the bare end there between the Triad and Corlys's army, and that was pretty epic.
Yeah,
I want to ask you about the relationship that we see here between Corlys and his son Alan with a Y.
Right. What's the question? What do I think of it?
That's a good question. No, so I guess the question here is, you know, Corlys is trying to mend the bridge, clearly. And do you think that, first of all, is this like hitting for you? Is the relationship here that, you know, Corlys is trying to salvage, is this relationship being salvaged one that you care about? And ultimately, at the end of this episode, Alan kind of has this like getting retribution moment against Lohar.
Yeah, because Lohar is able to like basically kick Corlys into the drink. We see him at the end of the episode wash ashore, so he's not necessarily dead, but she did kind of beat him in that battle. But then Alan comes in and gets his lick back
and kills her. Yeah. Because, you know, he was feeling some type of way about her, you know, doing that to his father. It's just, what's this relationship doing for you?
Honestly, not really. I don't really care too much about their relationship, quite frankly. like we haven't really got any kind of nuance there aside from the fact that he's his bastard. Um, Again, maybe this is something that hits a little bit different if it's a season finale instead of a season premiere, because like this was a pretty significant through line for season 2. And I think some of the conversations they have at the end of of season 2 happen like almost immediately before the events of this episode. And I don't remember what those conversations are exactly. So that is probably also like dulling the impact of that relationship. But I think even thinking back like to season 2, there's just like a different level of investment when we're talking about like the core cast of characters and those core conflicts, like the Rhaenyra Alicent or like the Rhaenyra Daemon or anything like that, as compared to some of the more secondary characters, which just like Corlys, it depends on who he's in a scene with, whether or not I'm really invested. Like when he was in a scene with Rhaenys, like that, I was locked in on that. When he's in a scene with Alan and they're dealing with like their father-son issues, not quite as invested there.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. It's not something I'm super interested in. However, I will say to Corlys's defense here, scene in this episode where they have to kind of maneuver through the teeth, that like narrow channel,
the shallows.
The shallows, and basically like Alan's trying to do it, and Corlys is just like, let me like take the helm here, and he gets him through, and it was just like, all right, Corlys, you know what, you got it.
Well, actually, I think so. Alan was like standing kind of apart. There was like somebody else manning the wheel, and then Corlys stepped in and took it from him. And I think that was cool because like you see Alan watching that, and I think Alan gains a little bit of respect for Corlys there. Seeing him kind of do like this crazy naval maneuver.
The maneuver was like super cool. And yeah, like you said, some admiration there. But yeah, I like how you said that. Like Corlys is a character that I kind of like. I don't know. I like him, but it's definitely like based on like who he's playing with in the scene.
Yeah, like I was more interested in his. I was more interested in his inner conflict about like legacy, and like whether like his jealousy of Rhaenys's claim to the throne and things like that. I was more interested in that kind of stuff as compared to like him as like an absent father.
Yeah. Now his brother, on the other hand,
Adam with 2 Ds.
Yep, Adam with 2 Ds. I'm very much looking forward to getting more of him as a dragon seed. I like the scene that we got with the dragon seeds
over at Harrenhal.
Yeah.
Yeah, we get it's Adam, Ulf, and Hugh, right? The 3 big ones there who are Rhaenyra has sent them to Harrenhal to ambush Daemon when he presumably is going to show up.
Right.
Obviously, Aemon has not showed up, so they're just kind of passing the time, like debating the pros and cons of their new job and being haunted by the ghosts of Harrenhal. This like the dynamic between the 3 of them.
That trio
is fun.
Good. Yeah,
it's very fun.
I think it might be a good way to kind of like get a little bit of humor out of this show. Those 3, but also like I do think that we're gonna have some major like rise to fame moments out of them, and really have them prove their worth of why the dragons selected them.
I could see that happening, but also that is like the expectation for like a fantasy show because it's Game of Thrones. I'm kind of anticipating like horrible,
they're gonna kiss their moms.
Unceremonious, gruesome deaths.
They're gonna kiss their moms.
They're probably gonna kiss their moms. But yeah, I like the conversation they were having about like is like the political debate of like knighthood versus lordship. Like I thought I was gonna get a castle. No, you got to be a lord for that, and like the question of like now, like what are they entitled to now that they have dragons? Now that they basically have portable nukes that they can fly around on, their opinions are a lot more valuable, or at least they think so.
Indeed.
So what role did they have to play as they kind of start to realize, hey, I can kind of throw my weight around a little bit. I got a dragon.
Right. Like what form is that going to come in? Is it going to be noble for all of them? Noble for some of them? Maybe more malicious?
Self-interested, self-motivated.
Yeah. For others, interested to see how that works out. I know vaguely, I believe Oh, man, I can't remember who it is now. I want to say Ulf. I think Ulf ends up being somebody pretty important, if I remember correctly, from like some research I did after last season, but I can't remember fully. So if I'm wrong, blow me apart in the comments. But
do you think this, like the Harrenhal haunting is going to continue for them with like Alice Rivers showing up? And then I think we saw one of the Green Men briefly before they disappeared. Do you think this Harrenhal spook factor is gonna stick around?
Dude, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't care, like, at all about the Harrenhal haunting. I don't. It's just like, what's it doing? What purpose is it serving? Like, is it making Damon mad? Like,
well, last season it was
him...
the purpose was to do a soft launch of the mother-son incest.
You're right.
We got
you're
that
right.
in the Harrenhal haunting with Damon.
No,
and his
you're right.
mom. So maybe,
you know what? I take it back. It's necessary. It's a necessary evil in this show.
It's just like the proving grounds for their most absurd concepts.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I just like, why did they put it? Maybe they just put it in here to remind us. Oh yeah, like Harrenhal's haunted. It does things to people. But like, is this gonna have a long-term effect? I don't know. Like, but I mean, don't get me wrong. I was glad to have the witch's name.
Alice Rivers.
Yes, Alice.
Dude, I got you with the names today. I'm so locked in.
Thank you. Glad to have Alice Rivers back because I really liked her and Damon in season 2.
I liked her just being like, I'm a witch.
I'm a witch.
And they're like, okay.
Yeah. So I don't know. How much time are they really going to spend on? I mean, are they going to spend all season on Harrenhal?
I don't know. Doubt it. It feels like they're like the writers are like, all right, we got to kind of keep them on the warming plate until they're ready to go onto the burner. Like we got to keep them in the wings until there's something for them to do.
Yeah. So
let's see.
As you said, they were there to wait for Damon.
They were waiting. Rhaenyra sent them there to ambush Aemond, who she thought was going to Harrenhal to fight Damon.
Right. So to fight Damon,
right.
Damon. That's what I was saying. Let's get into Damon now and what he's doing.
Yeah.
In his crusade.
So Damon is in the Riverlands with the Tullys,
yep.
And they're just kind of mucking through the marshlands, fighting and killing the Lannisters. And we get him, like, them meeting up with the Stark forces, which
love to see a Stark.
Dude, the line that he says, "We've come to die for the Dragon Queen." I was like, let's go. Like that was the moment where I was like, we're back in Westeros.
Yeah.
So, and then he tosses the decapitated Lannister's head.
Oh yeah, no, super cool. I want to ask you, like, where do you think we're gonna find Damon throughout this season? Because last season Damon was kind of like on a solo mission, you know?
Yes.
And he was very much separated from like the main plot. Where do you think that venture is going to take him in his service to both his queen, his wife, but also to himself? Because Damon's ultimately a self-serving character, and this crusade is not only for Rhaenyra, it's also for himself. What do you think we're going to get out of Damon in this season?
It's a really good question, because we leave season 2 with that momentous meeting between the two of them where he finally bends the knee and, like, without any reservation, pledges fealty to Rhaenyra in front of all of the forces in the Riverlands that he has amassed for her. So we think that's a big step for him.
It was a spectacle.
We think that's a big step for him in, like, moving past some of his selfishness and that kind of stuff toward a place of just, like, pure service toward his queen. Knowing what we know about Damon, whether that's going to last, I don't know. But it seems like he is pretty steadfastly committed to that mission right now. And when Damon is able to be on the battlefield doing what he does with Caraxes behind him, I think he is happy. I don't think I love the in design these moments of he is, like, feeling the urge to, like, usurp Rhaenyra or anything like that. But once we move past, like, this active warring phase where he is clashing swords every day, then that's where that question starts to creep back up into your mind as to whether, like, is he going to be consistent?
Basically, when he gets bored. You're kind of saying you think we're going to spend the bulk of this season with Damon kind of as a foot soldier. He's going to be raging or waging his war across the Riverlands and wherever else, claiming territory for Rhaenyra, getting more families to pledge their fealty to Rhaenyra, just kind of fighting the fight on the ground.
Dude, Daemon
being
with
the general of her army. Yeah, that's a
Daemon fighting
combo,
with the Starks.
dude.
Like once Cregan Stark joins up with them from last season,
dangerous combo.
like that's gonna be some cool stuff.
Yeah.
Quick aside, rest in peace to both of the Lannister twins. One decapitated, the other drowned in his armor. Tough week for the Lannisters.
Rough day. Yep, tough week for the Lannisters. That's yeah. Do the Lannisters ever have a good week? It's just
as soon as Tywin was born until he died.
Yeah, fair. There was a good period there.
He was a beast of political machinations.
Yeah. I mean, he had that whole, trying to kill his son thing. But,
what are you going to do? And nobody's perfect. Last point that I had for Daemon and the Riverlands, I really liked that conversation he had with the Tully kid about like Riverlanders needing to be returned to the mud as opposed to having Caraxes cremate them. And that's just like going back to that theme we see even in Night of the Seven Kingdoms, this recurring theme of Targaryens just as kind of like foreign invaders in Westeros with crazy customs.
Oh, yeah.
And like that clashing with the culture of the houses in Westeros. So I just like the way that stuff is always very interesting to me. And seeing Daemon like kind of seemingly be receptive to that.
But also laughing
like an indication
it off in a way.
Yeah.
Like he kind of like chuckled at that notion. He was like, "Fine, whatever."
Yeah, he's like, "All right,
I won't order my dragon to lay waste to the dead bodies."
Yeah. So I just like I'm always that kind of like cultural clash stuff is always so interesting to me.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Yeah, it's as you said, the Targaryens started off as invaders, as conquerors, and throughout really every period of time that we have seen them on screen, they continue to be that, really up until, we get into Game of Thrones, and they're obviously like no longer in the helm of power. They're no longer in the seat of power. But then we yet again see the rise of Targaryen power within that show. So they have always been that invader, that conqueror in the realm, and everything that they do, everything that they know is so foreign to all the other families. Yet they have the dragons. So what are you supposed to do about it?
Exactly.
And there lies the heart of Game of Thrones. Dragons.
Dragons. You got them or not?
Yeah.
Before we move out of the Riverlands, a couple of characters who didn't have too much screen time, but I thought had some really interesting scenes that I loved. Criston Cole and Gwaine Hightower, who are, I think they are maybe not directly involved in that battle with Daemon, but I think they're on like the same kind of front in that like Riverlands area moving towards Harrenhal. So, dude, this was so good. We see Gwaine moving through camp, and he sees like a woman come out of a tent. She had clearly just been assaulted and like by one of their soldiers, one of their footmen.
Yeah.
And so Gwaine sees that. He goes over to talk to Criston Cole, who, if you forgot, he is the Lord Hand of the King, and a member of the Kingsguard. So he goes to Criston Cole, who is, I think, repainting the House Cole sigil onto some of his armor.
Yep.
And Gwaine goes up to him. He's like, "Hey, we got to put a stop to this, like sexual assault stuff." Or not necessarily. He says, like, "I saw somebody just take advantage of a woman in the camp.
Yeah.
Are you going to do something about it?" And Cole just kind of looks at him and like throwaway line, like, "Go hang him. Like, you do it."
Yep.
And Gwaine's like, "Well, there's a punishment to be doled out, but I don't think I'm the one to do it. I think you, as his, Lord Commander, I think that's your role." And Criston Cole, who, dude, carrying the strength of this character arc from the end of season 2, where he is just like completely traumatized by the battle at Rook's Rest and seeing the destruction of dragon warfare.
Mm-hmm.
And Cole is at this point where he's like, dude, like, what is civility and humanity when dragons are raining fire on us? Like, none of that matters anymore.
And none of it matters.
So do
Exactly.
what you want. Like, I don't care, but I'm fighting to stay alive. And what are morals? And Gwaine pushes back on that. And he's like, well, we're just like them unless we keep our principles. And so, like, I am so excited to see where the conflict between the two of them and the back and forth there goes, because just a couple of characters I'm so interested in seeing more conversations between.
Yeah, no, I love the interplay of, holding on to the morality of knighthood that you get from Gwaine, and then as you mentioned, like with Cole, you get, not the breakdown of his morals, but like the realism kind of setting in, and the cynicism that comes with that, of like
cynicism, like a shift toward like nihilism and nothing
yes,
matters.
yeah, like what do morals matter in our situation? What do morals matter when at any moment, we could all be wiped off the face of this earth by dragonfire rain above, and we could do nothing to stop it. He's really struggling with that, and I do hope that we get more from that.
Okay, a couple more places for us to go here. I think we still kind of have to go to King's Landing, and Dragonstone, even though we've talked a little bit about both those places and things that have happened there. But before we do that, I want to just touch really quickly on the Reach and the remaining faction of the Hightower army that we get introduced here in the first, like for the first time, really. So Ormond Hightower, he is Alicent and Gwaine's brother. He
Correct.
is, I think, like the lord of, or like the heir to House Hightower. When Otto dies, he's like the oldest son. And
he's got a dragon.
Well, no, he doesn't have a dragon.
Oh, no. His youngest brother.
Nephew does. Alicent and Viserys' son, another one of theirs, Darren, right? They have the little...
Did we see Darren in this episode?
I think there was like a very brief glimpse at him and at Tessarion in like his little pen at the camp.
He has a dragon in his camp.
It's a little tiny guy. It's a little tiny guy. Still do a lot of damage. And the only other notable character in this group that I saw in this first episode, Ormond's, it looks like his like kind of main Kingsguard. Dude, it's Brasso from Andor.
Yeah, I know. Interesting.
Love that guy.
Yep. Hey, shout out him.
Shout out Brasso, shout out Andor. Nothing particularly crazy happens with these characters here. Like, this is the most of like, I think like the table setting for the season that this episode does is we have the Hightower army marching on, I think, are they also marching on Harrenhal? I think that is like where everything is kind of moving towards, is like this big convergence at Harrenhal.
Okay, well then, you know what? The Dragon Seeds might stay on Harrenhal all season.
They could, yeah.
But I agree. I think this scene kind of served for a couple of reasons. One, introduced us to a new character. Two, just remind us that like, hey, not all is lost for Team Green. They do have more forces coming, and also, hey, they have another dragon. Just if y'all forgot, there's another dragon for them.
Dude, I just love that like the one distinct character trait that we get about Ormond here is that he just cannot deal with the smell of pee or poop. Like the rider comes with the message and he has to take out like his little jar of bitters to sniff.
Yep.
And then he smells something on the note and it's too much for him to handle.
Dude's got real sensitive olfactory senses.
I'm not sure how the battlefield is going to treat him.
Yeah.
Let's see, dude. All right. So we have talked about the Vale. We have talked about the Reach. We have been to the Riverlands. We have flown over King's Landing, but we haven't touched down. Would you like to take a brief stay in King's Landing?
Let's because very valuable players in King's Landing.
Yes. So we obviously talked a lot about Alicent already. About how she is like taking a more active role in trying to create the life that she wants for herself and for Helena. I like that those like Alicent and Helena are kind of sticking together. I really like seeing Aemond trying to be what he thinks a strong king looks like.
Yeah.
Because he's like really putting up this like, going back to last season too, putting up this like really strong masculine front. But I think like deep down, he's actually very scared now that he is in charge and like the main target for Team Black.
Oh,
and
most certainly. He is
you see that in him not wanting to leave. Yeah.
He's outpowered. I mean,
even though he has the biggest dragon in the world.
Yes, but he has the biggest dragon. Team Black has what, 6 dragons, maybe more at this point.
We have to do some dragon math.
We do have to do some dragon math. But wait, hold on. Actually, I have it right here.
He did your work.
Team Green has 3 dragons at the moment. Team Black has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,
Dude, what
9
are we doing?
minus 1, 8. They have 8 dragons.
How is Team Black not on the throne?
Dude, and that's I mentioned that in the beginning of the episode. Like it's crazy to me because the way this episode is framed is like, all right, Team Black is like they got it, man. Like they are ready to go. Rhaenyra's ready to like go, dude. Like she's ready to strike. They should not have an issue with this, but they do.
But
and
you know what it is? It's Vhagar, and it's the fact that Team Green has all of the symbols of power. So people see that they're in King's Landing and in the Red Keep, and they're like, okay, those are the people that should be in charge because they're there. So they have all the trappings of power and authority.
They most certainly do.
And you see that with Larys giving, proving that Aegon is who he is by showing Aegon's crown.
I wanted to talk about that scene because what a funny scene.
Dude, that's so good. I really good buddy cop potential there with Larys and crippled Aegon.
Just all Aegon had to do was swallow his pride and
couldn't do it.
Just bend the knee, and he just couldn't do it. And then Larys was just like, oh, fine. That's the king, like.
So they are being taken prisoner to Rhaenyra, right?
Yes.
Is that presumably what's happening? Now, whether or not these bannermen actually do that, or I don't know. We'll see what happens. I have a feeling they do not make it to Dragonstone. And this, I think it's a show invention. This, maybe, I might be wrong. This Larys Aegon absconsion.
So you don't think that we will get the Aegon Rhaenyra meeting in this season? You don't think that those two are gonna intersect?
I don't think so, because what do they really have to talk about? I think Rhaenyra's like at first sight, if she sees Aegon, especially if he's in the state that he's in, I think she's just
gonna kill
him out.
I mean, because you're right. Like now at this point, like her real threat is Aemond, and she's basically already got his mother on her side, not on her side, but ready to stop waging war.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, again, you and I don't know like how this all turns out because we haven't read the books, but like, is this the end of Aegon's story? Like, what does Aegon become? Does he like die poor cripple on
Aegon
the road?
Becomes the Night King.
And so what you're right. Like, what does Rhaenyra have to fear from him? Nothing.
Or like, what does she want? Like, is there anything that Rhaenyra wants from Aegon? I don't think there's anything that Aegon could give her.
Yeah. At this point, I don't know. Like, the most powerful like thing about him at the moment is like his name.
Yeah.
And without the help of Larys, like he would have been dead already. So.
Yeah, and I think speaking of Larys, I think Larys knows that if they make it to Dragonstone, like they're not leaving. So I think Larys is probably already formulating the plan, the next steps as to how to get out of this.
Yeah, he's a real Littlefinger kind of guy,
Yeah. All right, my friend. I think we got one more stop to make. I think we got to touch down on Dragonstone and just kind of hammer home. What are we doing to our girl Rhaenyra right now, man? What are we doing?
Opening question. Was Jace justified in his decision?
No.
No, dude.
No.
Just no.
I think
And
my hesitation is like, I think there is merit to the idea that Rhaenyra should not be putting herself at such insane risk by flying into this battle. But that's just not Jace's decision to make.
yeah, no, it's most certainly not. And he puts this under the guise of, okay, well, like, we cannot put my mother at risk. Like, she's the most important player. Without her, there is no front. And he comes at arms with her earlier in the episode, and he says, like, well, like, what if, like, what if you die? And she says, well, then you will finally be king,
Yeah.
And so it's this interesting, like, reasoning that he puts behind it, because eh, Jace isn't like an Aemon. He's not looking for the downfall of his mother to be on the throne, but he lets his own, like, you said it earlier, it's immaturity, pittiness, a little bit of
Insecurity,
spite, insecurity,
it's the
it
fact he's
gets in his
still
way and
insecure
causes
about being a
judgment.
bastard. Like, he's insecure
Yes,
about
very
people
much so.
calling him a bastard his whole life, and like feeling like he's not entitled to be heir to the throne.
Yeah,
And so he's like constantly feeling like he has to prove himself by
yeah.
flying off half-cocked into a battle that he has no business flying in.
And the I like, yeah, like, what are we doing? What are we doing to our girl Rhaenyra? Like, because now she has been locked away in her tower for the duration of the Battle of the Gullet. She is unaware of what has happened. She's unaware that her son has died, that she has lost dragon in her army. Second son, yeah. She is completely unaware that the decision that her son has made has had disastrous effects to her family, and probably her upper hand in the war that has now begun, and she's going to have to deal with those decisions, I think, and that's going to manifest, I think, in an interesting way, because she's obviously going to mourn the loss of her son, but also be angry with him, because what right did he have to do that? And because of those immature actions, it has now put her in the spot that she is in. And so I think she's going to be angry, and angry at herself for being angry at him.
Yeah, and I don't know, did you watch like the inside the episode thing at the end of the credits? I liked how Emma Darcy talked about how they see Rhaenyra going through a change at that point, where she's like ripping up her garb from last season, where she stops seeing herself as a queen and starts seeing herself as a king.
Yes.
And so I think you're right that, especially now when she finds out about Jace, it is going to be another big step in the direction of her taking a very active role in this war.
Yes. So actually, a really good point that was brought up in the Midnight Boys pod review of this episode. Have you listened to that yet?
No, not yet.
So I was listening to it today, and a really good point that they brought up. So shout out the Midnight Boys on the Ringerverse. They were talking about how basically, if this were a king, if it was a king gearing up to go to war, people wouldn't second guess it. But because it's Rhaenyra, because it's a queen gearing up to go to war, they do second guess it. They throw out these blanket, the guise of, oh, you need to be protected. You need to stay here and not put yourself in harm's way. And if she were a king, if she were gearing up, putting on her armor, going to ride dragon back into battle, she would be applauded for doing so. And I thought that was a really interesting point that was made. And so, the symbolism that you mentioned of her, tearing apart her queen's garb and stepping into the role of that she's now, seeing herself as, I am not the queen, I am the king. I am the king, and I will act as such. And I think that we are going to see that transition in full play here in this season of Rhaenyra is no longer staying at Dragonstone. She is going out, and she is going to take this war into her own hands.
what I'm really interested with that is, like a through line for the whole series is like patriarchy and misogyny in Westeros and like how that affects Rhaenyra's claim to the throne. That's not new.
No.
But her taking on this like more active, traditionally like masculine king role, if you want to call it that, what I'm interested to see is how the people around her react to that. Like how her small council reacts to that, how Daemon is going to react to seeing Rhaenyra and Syrax on the battlefield. How is that all going to play out? That'll be interesting.
Especially when Daemon has like been kind of like the battlefront guy. He's the general. So to have her take more of a role in that is, that's going to be interesting for the relationship between those characters for sure.
Yeah, so I think like we're kind of we've touched on all the places. We are now left off at the end of the season premiere. Both sides' armies are kind of torn to shreds. Or no, sorry, not their armies, but their navies.
Yes.
After the Battle of the Gullet, I think the Triarchy has been effectively dismantled.
I think they're done. I don't think we get much more from them.
I think Corlys is still alive, and the Velaryon fleet has been significantly weakened, but I think they still have a good amount of ships at their hand.
Yes.
Team Green, obviously, we still have Aemond, who's planning to take Vhagar to Harrenhal.
Yes.
The Hightower army marching that way.
Yep.
And Daemon waiting for them. So it really feels like now we're at this point where, with the dragon seeds there, everything is kind of starting to converge back on Harrenhal.
Yeah, no, and also just in terms of Team Green, like they also have the Greyjoys, don't they?
Oh, we haven't seen the Greyjoys yet.
No, but
I think
pretty
you're right
sure they
are
on their side. So they do have a navy force as well.
True.
Greyjoys are well known in Westeros for their naval prowess. So I mean, the Greens they got a fighting stance. I've said it a couple times this episode, but I see this episode as not the Greens won, but Team Black lost.
Yeah,
that's how I see this episode. There was no
Team
winner,
Green
but
didn't
there was a
gain
loser.
Any ground, but Team Black lost some.
Yes, and that's a shift in the tides for sure.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see how this next episode is paced. Right? Like, is this going to be just dealing with the aftermath of the Battle of the Gullet, or are we going to move things forward to whatever the next confrontation is going to be? That's kind of what I'm thinking about.
I obviously will have to deal with some things: the death of Jace, loss of Varamax, discussion of naval fleet has now been dwindled down. We'll have to talk about those things, but I hope it's the latter. I hope that we spend a little bit of time just resetting the table. Okay, here's where we stand now, but we're still moving. This doesn't stop anything. War rages on. Where are we going next? And it seems like everything's converging on Harrenhal. So how do we get there and what's happening?
Before we get out of here, I mean, we talked before the episode about throwing broken batarangs out, just kind of as we're discussing. I don't have any here. This wasn't a perfect episode. I think if I had to throw something, it would just be like the production timeline, but I'm not even going to do that. We've litigated this idea ad nauseum as to the production time on the show. This was a really good season premiere. I'm excited to be back here. Next Sunday night, 9 p.m., I'm going to be seated. So it's good to be back in Westeros and in the thick of it, as opposed to where Night of the Seven Kingdoms feels like just hanging out with some buddies. We are in the thick of it. We are in the battle, and it's a fun place to be.
It most certainly is. I got nothing else on this episode. I loved it. I love that we get to sit here and talk about House of the Dragon. I love that we get to cover a second Game of Thrones property on the show. That's fun.
Dude, I think officially with this episode, I'm declaring that we are moving into season 3 of Between Two Batcaves.
I like that. And actually what's kind of cool is so our first episode of the pod came out on June 20, I want to say 27th.
I think 27th. So we're when this episode drops, this is going to be the one that's the year.
Well,
what do we do? You want to do something special?
we'll do something special on the next episode after it's been a year on the pod. But I do think it's cool and just like coincidental that we started the pod by covering a project about dragons, and here we are at the year mark covering a project about dragons.
Raina needed to watch How to Train Your Dragon.
Dude, that would have been a great crash course training video. She could have learned a lot from Hiccup. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a post House of the Dragon season 3 drafting the best dragon tamers in all of fiction. Dude, whoa, we got a good one. I'm writing that down.
Write that down.
I'm writing that down
right now. Dragon tamer draft.
I got it.
All right, we're good. All right, that's an episode, dude. Now we got that. We can close this thing out.
Yep.
Hey, you heard that. If you're still here, you're doing something right. So we appreciate you. Thanks for hanging with us as we get into the weeds on House of the Dragon Season 3. We will be back here next Wednesday breaking down Episode 2 of Season 3 of House of the Dragon. And some point around then, we're going to be talking Supergirl too. So stick around. Hit us up on the socials. We are on all of them. Hit us up at Between Two Batcaves with the number 2 on all of them, except for the app formerly known as Twitter's, where you can find us at B2 Batcaves. Hit us up. Let us know what you thought about this season premiere. Are you guys excited to be back in Westeros after the toe dip of Night of Seven Kingdoms? Do you miss our boys Dunk and Egg? What are you thinking? Let us know.
And before you close out of the podcast app of your choice, just a quick reminder to leave us a 5-star rating and a review on today's episode. A little bit of that goes a long way, guys. It really does. We'd really appreciate that. So come back next week where we will be covering House of the Dragon Season 3, Episode 2. And until then, from our Batcaves to yours, thanks for hanging with us, and we will see you next time.
See you.
Give it your best dragon screech. Ready?